Well, it's a live hog out, and we've got plenty of cricket to come. If rain stays away, we've got Australia taking on Afghanistan tonight, South Africa taking on England tomorrow night, and then India taking on New Zealand. Last night, Pakistan were meant to take on Bangladesh, but it didn't happen because of rain. That's disappointing for Pakistan because they've only been able to play one game of an ICC tournament on their home turf. And that's not good for Pakistan cricket. It's not good for world cricket because we want to make sure that those youngsters over in Pakistan are actually watching their stars out the highest level in the best tournaments so that we've got future generations coming through to keep Pakistan cricket going strong. But the first talking point we've got tonight, talking about Australia versus Afghanistan, it's Marnus Labuschagne. Now, his intention and the Australian intention tonight is to quickly quieten down the local crowd because Pakistan are going for Afghanistan at this particular stage, especially the way they beat England the other night. And if they beat Australia tonight, they've got a good chance of going through to the, well, if they beat Australia, they'll go through to the semi-finals. And they do have a good chance of beating them. If it turns tonight, the wicket turns, Australia is susceptible to it, as we saw against Sri Lanka. But one thing with Australia is that they would have been using that Sri Lankan series to be able to negate the type of spin that they're going to face against Afghanistan. So even though they didn't do well, they were looking at ways to really get on top of that spin bowling strength that Afghanistan have got. So it's going to be a close one if we do get onto the field tonight. And the thing is, if there's rain around and it's a shortened game, that actually goes into the favour of Afghanistan because they don't quite bat as deep as Australia, and their fast bowlers or the power play bowlers don't have to bowl to the likes of Travis Head up top, who can do damage against that type of bowling. So the rain is a big favour for Afghanistan. So watch out for that one tonight. Still expecting Australia to win. Okay, what's our next talking point? Because I know we've got Van der Dusen, but yeah, we've got these two poor teams that have been playing, England and Pakistan. Now, going back to Labuschagne with that article where we had beforehand, he also said in there it's about preparing for these type of tournaments. Australia have been preparing for the tournaments. They went to Sri Lanka to make sure they prepared against one of their weak parts, and that's spin. They know that they can play against pace, but the spin was the problem. Whereas England and Pakistan, they weren't prepared for this particular tournament. Pakistan, they've had administration problems, they've had player problems, they've had injuries, they've had coaching problems, so they haven't had that consistency going through. England, on the other part, when they went to India, they weren't looking at different ways to go about bowling, especially their quick bowlers. So we're not seeing any Yorkers. Their slower balls are easy to read, especially Jofra Archer. So their variety isn't there for these conditions. So they didn't prepare well before they got to the tournament. And when it comes to the batting as well, they just know how to be aggressive. And if they're under pressure, they want to go hard. They don't know how to take on that pressure and manipulate it and try and change the momentum slowly. So that's why those two teams are out. So England are on a plane after their next game against South Africa, home, and Pakistan, well, they can pack their bags, get in their cars and go back to their own homes and get out of that hotel that they've got over there in Pakistan, wherever they're staying. Next talking point is there's a couple of players of note that are coming of age. Van der Dusen mentioning he doesn't know how long he's going to go on for after this ICC Champions Trophy. And that's probably one aspect of South Africa moving forward is some of their top batsmen are at that age where they're getting close to retirement. We've seen de Kock just concentrate on T20 cricket over the last year or two, and there's a couple of others that could be in the same boat there as well. We want to make sure that these teams that are getting those older players there have a succession plan, and those young players that are coming through don't get caught up in T20 cricket, but play a good decade for their country. So it's a very interesting space moving forward with the direction that players want to take their cricket. Do they want to play Test cricket for their countries, or do they just want to concentrate on white ball format cricket and try and play these T20 leagues and make their money there? But Van der Dusen, he's only had a short career, considering that he's in the late 30s. But he's had a very good career as well, and that comes from the political scenarios that they have over there in South Africa with the quota system as well. So he probably would have played a few more games if he was playing for someone else. So let's look at the game tonight. We've got Australia taking on Afghanistan. I'll just quickly talk about that before we get to our special guests. A couple of fans on there, and they're a little bit chirpy behind the scenes to me as well. There's going to be a bit of cheek tonight, so watch out for that. But I think Australia should beat Afghanistan tonight. But as we get, or if rain's around, as I said before, shorter game, it goes into Afghanistan's favour. But I think the pace of Faruqi, Amatazi up the top with the new ball, they both swing it, so they can create those opportunities early on against Australia's top order. But Australia bat deep, and their middle order are batting really well against spin, so it'll be a good contest there. I just think Australia have got too much strength with their spin department, even though they've got inexperienced pace attack for international level. I still think they're bowling well enough to really trouble Afghanistan tonight. They'll be better prepared than what England are. So Afghanistan are going to have their work cut out. Tomorrow night, we've got we haven't got New Zealand taking on India. Tomorrow night, South Africa versus England. And I think this is going to be an easy win for South Africa. I think they've got the momentum going their way. They've also been prepared over here. They've had a team that's come over, played in Pakistan conditions, but they've also rested a few players before the tournament started that needed a rest. So they are very well organised. They're playing some good cricket, powerful cricket, and I think they're going to be too good for England tonight. So I like where South Africa are. I think England are thinking about going home. They mentally won't be there. They'll be distraught. They'll be there's too much disharmony there. There's too much pressure on England to turn things around. They just want to get out of Pakistan tomorrow night as quickly as possible and forget about the last couple of months. And then we've got the big one on Sunday. That's going to decide who gets on top of the A table. That's India and New Zealand. This is going to be a crucial game, this one. And I think these two teams could end up playing in the final in Dubai again. So I think if there's a team that's going to beat India in this particular tournament, it would be New Zealand. I think they've come over this tournament looking for success. They did well in the tri-series between South Africa, Pakistan, and themselves. And I think they've got the right balance. Bracewell and Santner are bowling extremely well in those middle overs. They're controlling it, and their pace attack are keeping it nice and simple. They've got good game plans. They prepare well, and their batting, I think it's just very well balanced. You've got the aggression up the top of Conway, Ravindra, as well as the conservativeness of Williamson. And then Latham in those middle overs, the way that he's playing spin, being able to sweep the spinners off their line and length, is setting it up for the other batsmen around him. Latham, for me, is the key for New Zealand beating India. It's going to be a cracker. It's going to be a close one. And these two teams are very evenly matched. For me, I think New Zealand will win the first game, but when they replay themselves in this tournament in the final, India will take the cup. So watch out for that. Watch out for that. Now, let's get the special guests on. We've got Akash from Bangalore, who came from Mysore. Akash, how are you going, mate?
Hey, Augie, I'm doing good. How about you? Pretty excited to be talking to you.
I'm very excited talking with you because you've got a wife just as bad as my wife trying to get the lighting right for today. I just love your effort there. I can see your wife in the background there now in the shadow.
Yeah, she's pretty excited. She's excited too. She knows about cricket. She likes to play cricket. So yeah.
Oh, she likes to play cricket, does she? Does she play for a team?
So no. So I play for clubs in Bangalore.
Yeah.
But whenever me and my wife go to any nets or session, so she bowls to me and she's pretty competitive.
Right. Competitive and competent. Yes. So, what type of bowling does she bowl? Spin or pace?
So I guess it's in between the two. But yeah, she has managed to get me out a couple of times. And she never, and once I get her out, she never leaves a bat. So she wants to keep batting. So yeah. And the day I get her out, I don't get dinner at home.
All right there, mate. Well, you know what it's all about. I think we've lost Sasha Watt. I think he's gone somewhere else. So while Sasha's trying to get his technology right, let's have a bit of a chat. You've got a few questions. Fire them away at me.
Yes. I have quite a few, but I've been, So I'll just restrict it to 4 or 5 questions. Starting with, right, you have been part of 2 World Cup winning teams. That is in 2003 and 2007 World Cup, ODI World Cup. So if you have, what do you have to say? Which is the better team, 2003 Australian World Cup winning team or 2007?
I'd say 2003, definitely. The 2007 World Cup team was sensational, but I just think we had better balance in 2003. We had better depth then as well. As we got to 2007, there were a lot of players that were retiring at that particular stage. It was just well-rounded. And I think one of the great things about that Australian team in 2003 wasn't so much the cricket on the field, it was more so off the field. The support staff that we had, but from South Africa, so that's security. We involved them with everything that we did. And they were so upset when we left. They didn't want us to leave. It was like one big family. And for me, that was probably the most special moment of my cricketing career. Not the playing, it was the effect that we had with other people there, and the closeness we were able to attract with the people that were helping us on board from their own country. So that was probably the bee's knees for me. But I'll just share one thing. Andrew Simons was playing in the first game. He wouldn't have played if we didn't have Darren Lehman, who was suspended at the time, or Michael Bevan, I think, was injured. So we were depleted in that first game. The media was saying he shouldn't be in the squad, shouldn't be there, and he made that 100 against Pakistan. And the change rooms were that close. It just felt like a proper Australian team where we were all as one. There was no individuals in there. We were that close in 2003. You would not be able to break us, no matter what you did. And that 100 just got the momentum for us going through the whole tournament that we're unbreakable. Our player that was out of form, that wasn't going to play the first game, won the game for us, and we couldn't get him out of the team after that. So we just had great momentum,
So 2003 was a better team and also more memorable? Is that right?
More memorable. Yeah, it was probably more memorable for me because Shane Warne had his problems, and all of a sudden I was the frontline spinner just came out of nowhere. I was so excited, but then when it came to that first moment where, hang on, I'm doing what Shane Warne's meant to be doing, there was a little bit of panic there at one stage, but then I just said, stuff it. I've busted my ring for this opportunity. Just go out there and enjoy it, have fun, and you deserve to be here. Once I said I deserve to be here, things turned around. Because when I came to India in 1996, I didn't think that I deserved to be there because I'd only been bowling spin for a couple of or a year and a half. I started as a batsman, so for me, when I said I deserve to be here rather than I'm lucky to be here, all of a sudden things started to go right for me. So it's an interesting one, that one.
I just have a follow-up question, and then I'll go to Saswata, right? I'll just, because we are on this topic, I just wanted to ask this question, right? So you mentioned about Shane Warne, right, and how you basically became prime bowler and you're confident about it, but you were also primed to become the lead spinner in Australia test team, right? Post 2008, basically, when Shane Warne retired. But was there any particular reason that you retired early, right? Because you were primed to become the next lead spinner in the test team.
Well, there was. I had some family issues, so I was trying to save a marriage at that stage.
Okay.
And look, you know, when you're in a team and you're traveling the world, and you know, it looks like it's a fantastic life, which it is. But your wife is sitting at home with a couple of kids. So there was a bit of tension there, and I had to make a decision. So I decided to retire from international cricket to try and save the marriage. But when you're sort of in that rut or that rot, sometimes it's very difficult to turn things around. So you know, it's very important. Anyone out there, whether you're a male or a woman, is to make sure that the partner you choose to live with for the rest of your life, you try and be as certain as possible with it, because that's the biggest decision in your life. Because if it doesn't work out, it stings both of you financially. It hurts the kids as well. So you know, I think there's some lessons in that as well. It was disappointing, but that's where my life headed, and I had to make a few changes. And the disappointing thing there was that as a kid, obviously you've got the Ashes, and there was a tour to England at that stage, and I could have played in an Ashes series as the frontline spinner, but I didn't go, and they tried other spinners, and that's where it's at. I was only 12th man for one Test match against England, and you know, if I look back, it hurts, but I made the decision now that time for what I felt was right, and I've got to live with that. If I keep looking back and regretting it, I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life, because there's been so many other good things that have happened to me that I've got to be grateful for. So look for the grateful things, and when you're making a decision, it's about the feeling. If it feels right, go for it. If it doesn't feel right, well, you've got to keep questioning it. And if you can't get that feeling right, don't do it. So and the feeling for me at that stage was to make sure I try and save that marriage. Yeah. So
Thank you for answering this so honestly. Right.
Yeah, no, it's good. I've got to be very careful with it too, because there's kids involved, and they're older now, but also there's a lady involved as well, and you've got to have respect for the lady. You know, it's she did everything she possibly could to help me with what I was doing, but just the pressures of what it is forced her to. You know, put pressure on me to retire as such, and I don't regret that. During the time, actually, I'll be honest with you. During the time when it was happening, you know, there was resentment there, but once I just said, right, I've got to forgive, or you know, and also look at my own actions as well. The weight just went off my shoulders. And I'm very comfortable with everything now, and I'm just hoping that she has a great life and I have a great life type scenario, because you can't live in resentment. You really can't. And I did that for 2-3 years, and it just played on me and played on her and played on the kids. So it wasn't the right thing to do. So I don't mind sharing that. Yeah, as long as it helps people out there as well. Yeah. That's why I like to be so honest with it, because there's other people that are going through it. Yeah. So Zwata, how are you going? So Zwata's from Kolkata. Oh, here we go. There we go,
what mate. What an honour to talk to you, Brad. It's a great honor to be talking to you, man. I mean,
Thank
coming
you
from
very much,
Kolkata,
mate.
you're a cult hero here. I must tell you this. Like, you're a
Yeah,
cult
no,
hero.
no, thank you very much, mate. I really enjoyed my time in Kolkata.
Yeah.
I was very lucky up there. It was just so much fun,
Yeah.
and it was a real calm culture too. Shahrukh
Yeah.
Khan being the owner of the team,
Yeah.
he was very relaxed. You got Venki Mysore, who's the manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's very deliberate with the way he wants about it. He's very professional, but when it comes to the cricket side of things, uh, he spoke to the coaches and so forth. This is where we want to go. We want to have success, but he didn't put pressure on everyone. He made sure that, and Shahrukh did as well, that everyone's enjoying enjoying their trip up there in Kolkata, enjoying their cricket, because they both know in the business of the entertainment business, the more pressure you put on, the less
Yeah.
success you're going to have.
Yeah.
So they had the right process with it,
Yeah.
because we overthink things, don't we? And I think that I spoke about England. That could be a thing with England. They're overthinking it now. They've gone in there with a game style. It's not quite working.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to chop and change. And I think they're
Yeah.
mix and matching their game style, which is costing them at the present moment. But anyway, let's get into it. What's your first question?
I mean, Brad, you just spoke of England. I mean, just 5 years ago, England was such a formidable side, even in the 50 over game. So you played for something which I think even Akash will agree is one of the greatest sides ever, that Australia team under Steve Waugh and Ricky Ponting. So what
Yep.
was it that enabled you or team of Australia to reach stratospheric level of success? I mean, what you did was incredible. Like for 10 years and more than that, you dominated cricket. So what was special about that?
Righty, I'll sum it up. Do you remember, or are you old enough to remember a trip where we're in Holland and Pakistan, India, and
Yeah.
Australia were playing a tri-series there?
Yes.
So there was a guy there from Indian origin who's living in Hong Kong now and plays cricket in Hong Kong. But he was doing some service there in the meal area. But he was watching the different teams train. So what are you saying at that stage? You look at Pakistan and India. When they weren't batting, the players would sit down and then they'd go in, have a bit of a hit. But when Australia were training, there was so much competition in the nets. It was like we were playing a hard match. We were just trying to get each other out. There was a lot of banter there as well. When I say banter, if you're watching from the sidelines, sometimes it looks as though we're sledging each other. It looks as though, do these guys like each other or not? But it's the banter because you're having that competition. It's a bit like having a game of cricket out in the backyard with your brother. You want to beat him. So that's what our training session was like. And when there was the batsmen weren't able to have a hit, they would be doing running, fielding. So no one would sit around out training. There was always something to do. So I think the difference between our team and the teams back then was that we were a lot more professional, but we also had a lot more fun with each other as well. We trained hard, but we were laughing and at each other as well. And off the field, we're so tired as well. We're always looking for things to do, fun things to do to keep ourselves occupied and bring each other together. And I look at the teams now, and you bring up England. Do they have that competitive spirit in the nets? Might not. So for me, if you're looking at a culture, we probably had the perfect culture. Did we have the best team on the park? Yeah, we had all the names that did well, but if you look at it, our fitness was probably and fielding was probably different and more professional than all the other teams, which probably set us apart from those other teams. And we also had a drive that we had a goal that we wanted to be the best team. And if we play our best cricket, if a team beats us, they've played out of their skin to beat us. They've played the best cricket they possibly can because we're setting the high bar. So we never so if a team beat us, we never went there and said, "Oh, right, well, we didn't play as well as we should have. We sat there. Did we meet all our KPIs? Right, we did.
Yes.
Right. What has the other team improved on that beat us? Was it a little bit of luck? Have they improved? So we went through that analysis and just see, right, where can we improve so this doesn't happen next time? So we're always looking for improvement rather than looking at the end goal of winning titles. And when you've got that, no matter what you do in life, you're looking to improve. The success, what you define as success, will come, or is more likely to come. So you can only improve on what you're doing at the moment. You can't. That's the only thing you can worry about. How can I improve? And that's probably why we had so much success. That is a great question. A great question. Thanks for that. All right.
I mean,
we better swap over. Yeah. Oh, all right. Akash had. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, Akash, if you want to say something, you can make Akash. Do you want
No,
to say
no, I just had a follow-up question, right? There was a point that we were speaking about the sledge and thing. So, was the weirdest on-field sledge basically you have ever heard or given that completely backfired?
That's a great question.
All right, backfired. Okay. Remember when Yuvraj Singh hit the 6 in an over against England? I was 12th man. The next game, Australia are playing India out at Durban. And Brett Lee's bowling, and the wicket's just fallen. I'm running out with drinks, excited as anything. Disappointed that I'm not playing because spin can dominate in T20 cricket. So disappointed with that regard. But I thought I'm going to help my teammates out here. So running off, I'm sort of just make a little detour and have a crack out UV. I don't know whether he heard it or not, but they said, 6 sixes, mate. Come on. Token bowler, Stewie Broad. You're up against Brett Lee. No, I'll see you in a couple of seconds. I think the first ball from Brett Lee. Bang, 6. And you should have seen me. I'm sitting in the dugout, and UV sort of, I don't know whether he's looking at me or whatnot, but I'm sitting in the chair high up, and he hits the 6, and I've just given up the, like this. I'm just thinking my chair, you idiot. Never ever wind up the silent beast.
But did you tell your teammates? Maybe this is the reason, because you were hitting sixes?
I told them afterwards. Afterwards. Yeah. But there's so much banter out in the middle. I think I'll be honest. I like Rajasthan. I was playing for Rajasthan out this time when we were playing for Kolkata Knight Riders, and I've mentioned this slightly beforehand. But Shane Watson was bowling, and I was out short, fine leg. And when one Aussie gets angry, well, generally look out the other Aussies who's close around. They'll be sinking their teeth in there as well. And Gautam Gambhir's batting away. Watto's bowled a ball, and he was bowling quite quick at that stage. And he said something to Gautam and Gautam Gambhir, and I'm out short fine leg, and he looks at me, and I just couldn't help myself. I'm straight into him. And we sort of hunt in packs, Australia. But sledging for me is when you're doing that aggressive stuff. It means that the opposition are on top of you at a certain stage. Good sledging for me is humorous sledging, but it also just plays with your mind slightly. So. You might be playing with your brother in the backyard and he's batting away, and just as the bowler's about to come in, you just go, "Oh, you've tied your shoelace up a little differently than yesterday," type thing. And all of a sudden, as the bowler's coming in, they don't want to be embarrassed where they stop not facing the bowler, but they're thinking, my shoelace, and then all of a sudden the bowler's bowled, and that's the crafty type sledges that I really like. And Ricky Ponting was very good at that, out short leg. Just those sneaky little chirpy things. And when you're sledging like that and you're having fun with it, generally you're in control of your game as well, and things start going for you. And I always found I always found when I was aggressive at someone, my game would deteriorate. But if I was having fun and laughs, my bowling would be a lot better. My batting, so someone bowling 145, if I'm having a bit of a laugh and I'm enjoying it out there, that bowling would feel like 120. But if I'm aggressive, that bowling would feel like 160 type scenario. So, I'm just trying to give you paint you a little bit of a picture how relaxed you can be. It's a bit like everything that you do. When you're doing something at work and you feel as though it's really hard and you start to really overthink it. Well, that's what aggressive sledging can be like sometimes. You're really overthinking it and you've lost focus on what you should be focusing on and having fun to find the solution rather than working harder at it. And that's what I think of aggressive sledging.
I mean, you just mentioned one of our. I mean, we all love him, Ricky Ponting. Like, he's one of the greatest batsmen of the time. So, tell us, how was it being in the dressing room under Ricky Ponting? Like, he seemed very aggressive. I mean, tell us the side of Ricky Ponting we do not know.
The kind of Ricky Ponting that you do not know. I've got to be careful because he's still in control of cricket around Australia, and if I want some work here in the cricket field, I've got to look after him. Ricky Ponting, I think he's a family man. But one thing with Ricky Ponting, he's probably Simon Kadich is probably one of the toughest players I've ever played with. Shaun Marsh is up there as well. Ricky Ponting, but when it came to the development of the game, the reason why he's so good with a pull shot is they had the ball machine as quick as they possibly could get it with a surface which even enhanced the pace or enhanced the pace. So it was about 160 or so forth. And he was trying to take the pull shot on, because anyone bowling short and you can't play a pull shot or a cut shot, you're in trouble. So he was working on, he was getting hit. Other players that were in the academy at that stage didn't want to go in there and face it. He just took it on. I remember a game here, Western Australia playing Tasmania. We had a guy called Duncan Spencer. He's slightly built like a Jai Richardson, if you know Jai Richardson. And he's probably the quickest white man that Viv Richards ever faced. And Viv Richards had faced him when he was 40. And remember, Viv had faced Jeff Thompson as well. So he's bowling out the whacker. I'm fielding out point. I think he bowled a 6 or 8 over spell, but I only remember seeing one ball from point from hand to keeper. He was bowling that quick. Ricky Ponting was trying to pull him off the front foot. It just courageous, absolutely courageous. The other thing with Ricky Ponting, probably not a vocal leader as such, but he led by the way that he went about the business, a bit like Steve Waugh. Whereas Mark Taylor, Michael Clark were probably a little bit more talkative, a little bit more tactical. Ricky Ponting's very good tactically, but that probably wasn't his strong point. He just led from the front. And when we walked out there, we would go through a brick wall for him. So he was able to lead the troops. That's where he was very, very good. I think the other thing that we were very lucky with Ricky Ponting with his captaincy is Adam Gilchrist being the vice captain, his T2IC. Adam Gilchrist is a player who's very cool, calm under pressure. And sometimes Ricky, with that aggression and just the will to go through a brick wall, sometimes got the blinkers on. And Adam was able to sort of cool him down and get him switched back on straight away. So if you're looking at a combination of captain and vice captain, those two worked extremely well. They were absolutely brilliant. Brilliant.
Have you tried the?
Yeah, go on.
I was just asking. Have you tried the Ponting wines? Because you're
Have I
talking
tried
about Is it okay?
I've tried them once. Yeah, I've tried them once. Yeah, but
Okay.
it's like anything, isn't it? It's you have it in moderation.
Yeah.
So Ricky can handle me in moderation. I can handle his wine in moderation. So
I mean,
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's
you know, yeah,
yeah,
Brad,
go
you
on.
just spoke about your retirement. So, something about your retirement was post-retirement, you kind of reinvented yourself for T20 cricket, starting with the Big Bash.
Yep.
So I want to know exactly, like now we're talking of the decline of ODI cricket with the inception of T20 cricket. So are we really, do you think, considering it is the most important format when it comes to championships, ODI cricket is really declining in the near future?
Well, I'll ask both of you just a quick answer. Have you enjoyed this ICC One Day International Series?
I
Yeah.
would say yes.
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 Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So for me, One Day International Cricket, I think it still should have World Cups in it. Probably, yeah, and maybe an ICC tournament as well, like this one. But don't play any buy series with it.
No.
Just keep it going like that. Then so you've got Test cricket, but then how can these guys adapt to One Day International Cricket? Because it brings a bit of Test and T20 flavour into it. But also with the 50 over game, if we want to expand it around to other nations around the world, for them to play 50 over cricket, at least batsmen have got time to bat longer periods of time. So it helps with the development of their batting. But also bowlers can bowl 10 overs at spells as well. So it helps with the development of their bowling. If these countries are just playing T20 cricket, it's just hit and giggle, and it's harder for them to find a good, solid foundation with their technique. So for me, One Day International Cricket's still got its place, but I think we should have it in World Cup crickets and for the associate nations. So for me, I still think these games have been sensational. There's been some close games. Afghanistan beating England the other night was sensational in a sense for Afghanistan cricket. But Pakistan losing to India and New Zealand when it's their home tournament is not a good thing for cricket, because, as I said out at the start, those youngsters coming through at Pakistan, they want to see their heroes succeed. So it's about the longevity of the game for me, not about short-term success. So that's, and Pakistan not playing Bangladesh the other night even dampens that for me. So we've got to be very careful with it. So I think One Day International Cricket's still got longevity. T20 cricket, we've got to get the right formula for the T20 cricket as well. The one thing that worries me with T20 cricket, and this is not having a crack at the Indian owners or anything like this, but we've got franchises from the IPL that are owning other teams around the globe. So where's the development of cricket going to be? So let's say all the IPL teams own a Big Bash team here. Right, who's going to develop our youth coming through, our younger players, because they're going to have more say? Is there going to be enough money in international cricket or the Australian cricket system or Australian Cricket Board to be able to finance those juniors coming through? So we've got some big headaches coming forward with cricket, and we've got to answer those questions, and we've got to answer them as quickly as we possibly can.
Makes sense.
But like, how do you think franchise cricket like IPL has really influenced the game? Like IPL or a Big Bash, like how much has it changed international cricket?
I just think it's put a spanner in the works as such. It's sort of, and this is not a derogatory comment or anything like that, but the BCCI have a lot of influence in the game. And it's changed because the ECB had a lot of influence in the game for a long period of time. So it's slightly changed at this stage. The thing is, India's in a prominent position because they've got 1 billion people there, whereas the other countries don't have quite the same population. But the question that the BCCI have to ask themselves, what's the right balance for us? Do we need these international stars to come over and play in the IPL in 10 years' time, or can we run our business on our own? Do we need international cricket to keep the interest of the game moving forward as well? So these are other questions that you've got to ask. And with the influence of the IPL teams around other leagues, that's where it's a good thing, because they've made a huge investment in those other regions. Yeah. So all of a sudden, the BCCI have got to go, right, we've got to look after our franchise owners, and we've got to look after world cricket, because they've made a big investment there. So that's where T20 franchise cricket has made a positive impact around the globe. Yeah. So yeah, it's good we can discuss this. Hey?
Yeah. I'll probably go into the other side that you do now, broadcasting. So I'll not go for name calling, but when I look at ex-cricketers, I do see some of the ex-cricketers not saying the things that the people will be interested in. Like, I'm not taking any names; they're saying their own stories. On the other hand, like, we have people like a Jatin Sapru, Harsh Bhogle, people who are not from cricketing background, who are doing exceptional in the broadcasting market. So, what do you think is the future for broadcasting around the world?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, that one. Harsha Bhogle is sensational. I think you've got to have that mix of presenter and past player experience in there, but you've got to have those presenters in there that are able to dig up the dirt as such, whereas past players can be a little bit tentative in that regard, because they want to keep the relationships with those particular players, because a lot of players are coaching 1 minute, then they're in the broadcast box in the next minute. Through the Big Bash, I think we had eight players that were commentating the Big Bash games as well. So where's the critical analysis coming here rather than the cheerleading going on? So there's pros and cons with it all as well, and I think in the commentary box, you don't need players that are playing right now in the commentary box, because there's so much media behind the scenes, either from the international team on the cricket boards or from T20 franchises as well, that are giving you good insights of those particular players. But when the players go into that commentary box, it's hard for them to critique their peers, because they've got to either go out and play with them or against them as well. And that's where your cultures can sort of get a little disrupted with someone saying something that they shouldn't have said. And at the end of the day, you want to be honest. Yeah,
totally.
Okay, so now
let Akash.
I have two questions. So now we have basically moved towards. We have started talking about T20 and leagues, right? I have two fun questions for you. Very okay, yeah. So if you have to face your own bowling in a super over, what's the strategy to score?
I had to face my own bowling in a super over. Firstly, I'll be thinking, what a batsman thinking. Just charge me and belt me straight back down the ground.
Okay. No, I'm saying if you have to, if it's you batting and you bowling, if you have to face your own bowling in a super over,
if I was facing my own bowling in a super over, if I'm scoring, I'll develop a sweep shot.
Okay.
I wouldn't be playing off the back foot, so I'm either sweeping, fine or square, or I'm charging and hitting straight down the ground. But I wouldn't be trying to. I'd be trying to hit the ball like it's a good length ball from a fast bowler, where there's a bit of extra bounce, because I had a bit more overspin than side spin. So if I was facing cool deep, I'd start a little bit lower. If I was facing myself, I'd be standing a little bit taller. And it's pretty hard because I'm a small fella anyway. But I'd be trying to hit the side screen or the square boundaries.
So what do you reckon? How many runs would you be comfortable scoring in your bowling in your own over?
36.
That is
My batting was better than my bowling.
bowling.
Yeah, no, but there's one thing I wouldn't. I'd be looking to hit straight most of the bowling, but if it's slightly short, I'd be trying to sweep to the square boundaries. The reason being because of the extra bounce, I wouldn't try and hit to the mid-wicket regions. If you look at Glenn Maxwell facing me, that's basically what he did. He was trying to hit me straight or sweep shots. So yeah, that's how I'd play.
Okay.
The Glenn Maxwell technique against Brad Hogg. That's probably the one. Yeah. That's an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So now a follow-up question, right? So you have played in so many different leagues and teams around the world, right? Which is the one dressing room tradition or ritual that absolutely shocked you, right? Maybe basically as soon as you enter and you're like, okay, that completely shocked you.
That completely shocked me. Well, okay, we're going into politics here. We're going into politics here, but South Africa, they used to have two change rooms for each team, and they'd have a certain section in one room and a certain section in the other room. Now that's all changed, but they still got the two rooms there, and the players still congregated like it was, but it wasn't meant to happen like that. It's just the way it happened. So let's say we're playing an IPL in an IPL team. The foreigners would go into one room and the Indians would stay in the other room. But it wouldn't be a deliberate thing. It would just happen type scenario. So that's probably one thing that's if I looked at it, it was wow. That was a different thing for me. And they all got on. They all got on, but it was just you've got to remember when you're saying this as well. And I've been speaking to someone today about Indigenous culture today here in Australia. So we're talking about things that happened in the past and everything like that. We go through generations. Now we're a different generation to the past. And basically, you and I are going to treat each other differently than probably what would have happened 10, 20 years ago between an Indian and an Australian in such a dialogue like this, because we're brought up differently. And you've been exposed to more Western culture. I've been exposed to more Indian culture now. So we gravitate differently too. So I guess when I had that experience in South Africa, it really shocked me, and I was able to sit back and go, wow, right, what would have it been like back then? What would have been like back 50, 60, 70 years ago? And you try and put it into perspective. And at the end of the day, we want the world to be better for our kids moving forward, don't we?
Definitely.
So, and I think there's been some massive inroads for the positive, but we've still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
that's a bloody good question, man, and it's brought me into a different answer than probably a fun answer that I would have liked to have shared.
Great insights.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a more serious insight in that. It was a great experience to have. Just everyone was just so wonderful. Everyone I've met in the cricket world has really given me a positive, or has been a positive influence in my life. So it's been great.
Great to know this.
Yeah. Sasha, what? Cool. And that's fans as well.
Brad,
Sasha, what?
I agree with you what you're saying. So I just was disconnected for some time because of the internet connection. So
Yep.
So
that happens in Calcutta.
I will just add on to something you stated. Like when it comes to players' connections, currently Indian team is going through transformation because you're seeing our senior players like a Jadeja, a Rohit, a Virat. they're toward the end of their career, and the person who will be at the helm of the affairs is someone you played under, Gautam Gambhir. So how do you, knowing the person himself, Gautam Gambhir, how do you really look at the transformation that Indian team is going to have very soon?
I think they're doing it very well. I think the transformation's already happening. You've got Gill that's captaining under Rohit Sharma now, so you've gone with a youngster to be the vice captain. He did a great job the other night. You're giving opportunities to all these youngsters in the T20 format. When you're going to play other teams in the 50-over format, you rest certain senior players, and you're giving youngsters that opportunity. You're playing Harshit Rana, Harshdeep Singh in this particular tournament. So you're pushing them forward. Yes, Boomer is injured. Yes, Shami's injured. But you haven't gone back to Siraj. You've made that move where we're going for youngsters, someone who's or some players who've got a different way about the way they go about their business. They've got different skill sets as well. So for me, you're already in the transition phase. I think your second team could probably beat most teams, most burst teams around the world. You're probably just as strong as Australia were when we had Australia A playing in some tournaments over in Australia. You could just about do that now, and your second team would generally have success, especially in that one-day format. So for me, I wouldn't worry about the transformation. I think Gautam Gambhir is the right man for the job for bringing those youngsters in and setting up a great culture. There was, you'd lost down here in Australia, but, you've had success down here, and it's a very hard, it's a bit like us going to India. We want to beat you on your home soil, like you want to beat us on your home soil, and it's not going to happen all the time and every time. I thought you guys played pretty well down here. It's just a little bit of luck that it went our way. And I think Constas, with his flamboyancy, put Boomer off his line and length and other bowlers, and we needed something different at that stage. I wasn't happy with him coming in and replacing McSweeney. I thought McSweeney had done a good job, deserved another go. But when I look back at it, the selectors did a fantastic job. They went left field and said, right, we've got to do something different to put the pressure back on India here and try and take control of the series. And they did that with the left field selection. So, when I'm summing up the series, it was Constas' move that changed the momentum of that series. Other than that, India were level with Australia at that series. But for me, the transition's already happening. I don't think Rohit Sharma will play after the next World Cup for India. That's if he goes that far. And Virat Kohli, I think he's making a decision whether he pulls the pin sooner than later as well. It was a great 100 that he made the other night. There was brilliance of Virat Kohli of old, but there was also some struggles there as well. And he's come out and publicly said that he's not recovering as well as he would like because he's getting old. But that's great honesty. And I still compare it to Sachin Tendulkar as, they're fairly even. They're equal greats of Indian cricket with the record that both have had. But you've got to remember that Virat Kohli has had to play more cricket probably than what Sachin did, and he's had to contest with the three different formats for a lot longer than what Sachin Tendulkar did as well. So Virat Kohli is just up there alongside Sachin Tendulkar as probably one of the greats of Indian cricket that you've had, and world cricket for that matter. So the transition's happening. Long-winded answer, George. Long-winded answer.
But just fun. I don't know. Just a question. Would you put Bumrah already in that category? Sachin, Virat, or not yet?
If he's not there, he's virtually on the cliff edge to fall into that category. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I look, Boomer is something special. You're even looking at Australian fast bowlers in Cummins, Hazlewood, and Stark. They've just started to play a little bit more T20 cricket. than what they used to. And all of a sudden, they're starting to have the injury problems like Boomer is as well. And I think if there's one thing in the longer form of the game that I'm worried about, that's fast bowlers. Going from the 20 over format to test level, because your workload's completely different. It's a completely different game for a bowler. You've got to be a completely different athlete, and that's probably the biggest issue for cricket moving forward. That's the biggest headache for cricket moving forward. The fast bowling stock's been able to play 3 different formats.
So,
now,
Brad,
guys,
if you had
I have.
yeah.
So
one more question each.
Yeah, one question each. So you know how big the fantasy cricket in India is, or I guess around the world now, basically, where you make a team, right? 11 players and play fantasy cricket. So just for this match, I'm going to take tips from you. Afghanistan versus Australia. Who should be my captain and vice captain and 1 wildcard player? And I'm going to go ahead with this for my team.
Don't go ahead with this for your team. I think Travis Head's got to have a day out. I got to go with Inglis because he's a West Australian. I think how many players do we have to pick?
So basically 11 players combined. So basically out of 22 you're picking 11.
Asmatullah, the all-rounder, definitely go with him.
Which Australian fast bowler?
Which Australian fast? I'd go with Nathan Ellis.
Nathan Ellis.
Yep. So you've got your 2 fast bowlers.
Yeah.
That's all you want?
Yes.
You'd have to go Rashid Khan, so that's 3.
Have to.
I'm not. So you got Travis Head, Steve Smith, Ibrahim.
Yeah.
That's 3. So Steve Smith batting 3. Inglis, he's 4, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'd have Kerry in there as well.
No, I guess Labuschagne is 4. English is 5.
I'm not having Labuschagne in my team. No. Inglis and Kerry. So how many more do we need?
2 more.
2 more.
Would you punt on Gurbaz, wild card?
Gurbaz, wild card.
On these flat pitches, it might come off.
Gurbaz, you got to go. But can you put him out 3?
Yeah.
With the fantasy team, it doesn't matter where they bat.
It doesn't matter where they bat. You just have to pick the 11, right? The best 11.
Yeah. So we've got. We need 1 more bowler, don't we?
Maxwell or Matthew Short? And Mohammad Nabi.
Well. I'd have to go to Maxwell for more consistency. Yeah. I really would have to go to Maxwell. And he hasn't done much this tour.
But he bats too low, maybe to have an impact, a big impact.
So what have we got? Go through the team.
We have Gurbaz, we have Travis Head, right? Steven Smith, Zadran, 4, Ibrahim.
Yep.
Right? And
English,
5. Okay, and then we have Omarzai, 6. Right?
Yep.
And Rashid, 7, and Nathan Ellis, 8. And 3 more. What did we decide on? There is.
Who did you say 8?
Nathan Ellis and Rashid Khan, 7 and 8.
Yep. So we need 2 8. You got to put Kerry in there as well.
Kerry, okay.
Yep.
And I think Nabi should go.
Yeah, put Nabi in there because he's an all-rounder.
Yeah.
And we've got 1 more.
Yeah.
1 more. You can pick this team out the start, can't you? So
yes, before the match starts.
If Abbott plays, put Abbott in there as well.
Okay, Abbott and Ellis both.
Yeah, Yep.
Okay.
Abbott and Ellis.
Got
Abbott
it.
before Ellis. Yep.
Sure.
No.
And
Abbott, Ellis. Got to write that down. Yeah, I reckon that is that 11.
That's 11. And who would be your captain and vice captain in this team? Because captain gets double the points and vice captain gets 1.5 the points, right? Whatever he's.
I'd go Kerry. I reckon Kerry's going to have an absolute blinder.
Okay.
Um,
That's only if Australia bats first, or even if Afghanistan bats first. And I'm just assuming if the score isn't that big, so he might not even get to bat.
All right. If you're going to if Afghanistan bat first, Nathan Ellis is captain.
Okay.
If Australia bat first, go Kerry.
Kerry. Okay, got it.
As captain. Yeah. There's just something telling me about Kerry.
Got it. And
because as we're going through the list, and I'm thinking, right, if I've got to go between Inglis and Kerry, I'm going Kerry because Inglis made the 100 the other day. So, and Kerry's just as good as Inglis. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, sure.
Sasha,
I'll definitely ping you somewhere, right? Towards the end of the match, I'll let you know how did my team do.
Hopefully it went well. Sasha, your last question before we get going?
You're a spinner yourself, so I'm seeing the recent trend of spinners. We are seeing less of finger spinners recently. So what do you think of that? And as an additional, tell us 3 cricketers who none of us are talking about who will be the big names in international cricket in the next decade.
Oh, 3 names. You're putting me on the spot quite quickly there. Now, you said finger spinners are starting to move out and leg spinners are coming in. Is that what you said?
Sorry?
Sasha, what did you say? Finger spinners? What was the
finger spinners,
question? Finger spinners are gone.
I asked
leg spinners are.
I mean, finger spinners are becoming increasingly less now.
Yeah, I think leg spinner just got that extra variety. We're not seeing as many off spinners bowl the doosra. That's the flick of the doosra. And leg spinners are able to bowl a little bit quicker, a little bit slower as well, and get more turn. What we're seeing too is the leg spinners have more variety as such when players get on the back foot, like a Klasan, where they're hitting them off that 5 metre length. The leg spinners have got more variety as well, where they can get one to turn and hold up, and then they've got the slider deliveries, the flipper type deliveries, which are able to rush them and put them under pressure. When you're looking at youngsters coming through, Harley Beardman is one. Marley Beardman, should I say, from West Australia, is a quick bowler. Watch out for him. You've all heard of O'Connell from WA as well. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar. And there's one Indian that I'm trying to think of that was on the top of the tongue. But there's also that Brevis that plays for the Mumbai Indians as well. Yeah. He's been off the radar for a bit, but I think he'll turn his career around now that he's had a bit of exposure. And he works hard at his game. And I think when he comes back on the scene, he'll come with a vengeance. Yeah. So I'm not going to write him off either. So they're probably 3 players that I'd look at that I'm seeing right now. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Rightio. If I'm going to get questions like that, I'm going to have to go and study junior cricket.
I'm hoping Rajat Patidar has a great year. Has next couple of great years. Bangalore diehard RCB fan. So I'm hoping for Rajat Patidar to do great for next couple of years at least.
No, that's all good. Hey guys, we got to get going. Because I've got to go down and coach a young leg spinner now who's going back to England in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah. But thanks very much for joining me. It was sensational. Yeah. Great questions, great energy. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Now, anyone out there who's still watching, if you want to get on board like these 2 young fellas, well, fill out that Google form. It's pretty easy, isn't it, boys?
Yes.
Pretty easy to fill it.
And it's an honor for us as well.
Great.
Thank you so much,
great
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. I had so much fun. Now
Thank
that's
you.
Hog out. Beautiful.
Yeah.